All right.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Competition Plus Power Hour. And I'm your host, Dujane Bland. And today we have a guest co-host today, one of the best in the business. He is the IHRA statistician. He is my statistician. He is your statistician. He is Speed Sports One statistician. He is the owner and founder of Drag Race Reference, Dave W. What's going on, baby?
Well, thank you for all the accolades. I appreciate it. I can't live up to all that, but yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Glad to fill in tonight. Unfortunately, Lee couldn't make it. Asked me to step in and do the show with you. And always love talking drag racing. And we've got quite a guest lineup tonight too. Some definitely makers and shakers in drag racing the last few weeks.
As Seamus would say, banger after banger after banger. Yeah. We've got Greg Stanfield coming up first at 9:05. We have Josh Hart coming right after that, and your IHRA event winner, the last event, Will Smith. It's going to be a good show.
Oh, that's a great show. And the star-studded lineup and pretty good stories from all three of them, really. I think Greg picking up that first win in, what would that be, 14 years just about when you go back to the World Finals and getting to race this kid to do it. I can't wait to hear what his thoughts are on that. It's not the first time they've raced in the final round. If you remember when they had the Factory X category that they both competed in, they raced in a final round at Joliet, and Greg got the better of that one too on a hole shot.
Yeah, he owns his son right now.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. And like you mentioned, Josh Hart getting to race at the home of RL Carriers right across the street there at Norwalk at the Night of Fire. And Will Smith, the man of many hats, top fuel dragster driver, top alcohol dragster driver, PDRA promoter. I mean, and then back in the car again. So he has had a whirlwind couple of weeks here going on.
Indeed. He will be in Brainerd. He is one of the top fuel, one of the 13 now top fuel drivers that will be there.
Yeah, I saw you mentioned on your show that the list grew by one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool to see the list grow. And like I said, Billy Torrance, not Steve Torrance, who's racing. So, it'd be nice to see Billy out there. But I believe that is Kyle Stenstein. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Kyle Stenstein. In the Mew Mobile with the Mew crew. Man,
that's the car that was out there at IHRA. That is a beautiful car.
That is a beautiful car. It's one of my favorite paint schemes to see on track. And that's cool that they're going to go ahead and try out the NHRA waters there and see what they could do over there in Brainerd, which is not a bad place to race. I mean, it's the home of the upsets for some of the unlikely winners that we've seen over the years there and some of these more strange occurrences. Plus, what a great atmosphere up north, the zoo.
Yeah.
Great prepared racetrack. I know you were talking a little bit on your show. No lights there, so no evening sessions, no nighttime sessions, but they do their best to get everything in. And as long as the weather cooperates, we may not be done setting records yet.
Yeah. This track has the tendency to have good weather for making big time runs. They do have a curfew as well. So that's another issue that they have to deal with up there. But if the weather is anything like we saw in Sonoma and in Seattle, we could see some more big time runs here in Brainerd. I'm really looking forward to this because this is where the rubber meets the road, and you get a chance to see who is really starting to get their act together and have an opportunity to go to the U.S. Nationals and kind of make some noise.
Well, 2 to go. This is it. If you are going to be the regular season champ and get your hands on that cash bonus that gets paid out at the U.S. Nationals, this is your last chance to get yourself in position before we go to the points and half race. and your last chance to really kind of set yourself up and make any potential moves to move yourself up a little bit higher in the seeding when we start resetting everything for the countdown to the championship, because those points positions may not seem like much now, but towards the end of the year, look how close it was in Pro Stock last year. Look how close it was in Top Fuel last year. Your seeding position could make all the difference in the world when it comes down to Pomona here in November.
Yeah, I think that's going to play a big part in both. I think it's going to play a big part in all the classes, really. Seeding is going to be super important in trying to make a push, whether you can get a few spots up, get away from the bottom and get up into that 7th place spot, or whether you can go from 7 to 5. It's going to make a difference when it comes down to playoff time, where you're sitting at. And it's also going to make a huge difference how you're performing. You cannot back into the playoffs. You cannot back into the playoffs.
Not at all. And not in any of the categories. And there are some categories that there's a couple of people that have a chance to race their way into the playoffs too, which is going to be very huge coming into these next 2 events for them.
Absolutely. And Nicole Clark says, make sure you bring some bug spray.
Yes.
The bugs must be big, and it must be pretty bad if you got to bring bug spray.
The mosquitoes up north are getting ready to hibernate for the winter, so they're out stocking up on all the blood they can, because they are out there, man. We got some monster mosquitoes up north.
Yeah, and I thought we had mosquitoes bad. Being from the country of Southern Maryland, we used to call those mosquitoes like pterodactyls. That's how big they are. So we are still waiting for Greg to come into the green room. We are on the search for Greg, but we got some really good stuff coming up. We got Brainerd, we've got IHRA with that big time pro mod race, $125,000 on the line there, 64 pro mods. It's going to be a show.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of stuff that's coming up. We got a lot of big events coming up. I'm excited about that IHRA pro mod race. That's right in my backyard. That's really cool. And the fact that they added the Mountain Motor Pro Stocks, that 64 car bracket bash, like you had mentioned, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's limited specifically to 64 cars. This is not, hey, anybody wants to show up, come show up, and right, we'll get 64 of you in. It was like, I guess you'd say almost the setup like NHRA has for their sportsmen when they open up national events for the sportsmen, and everybody's in there with grade points. They're trying to get in before they match the national event quota. Very similar on this bracket side of things. So if you made it into the top 64, congratulations, because I'm sure there was a ton of people trying to register for that deal. It's a very select group of people. Not sure how many pro mods are going to be there. I know it was supposed to be a 32 car field. It might just be an open field, depending on how many show up. We don't know. Mountain Motor Pro Stock and top sportsmen. So if you love door car drag racing, this is the place to be for you.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't see the sleds, the snowmobiles on the
no snowmobiles, no motorcycles, no nitro. No, none of that stuff.
No, I was saying for Brainerd, I don't see the sleds on
the sleds aren't in Brainerd? Well, that's surprising. They're usually there every year. I'm surprised they wouldn't have a slot there.
Unless they're going to have them out there anyway, and they're not putting them on the entry list.
They probably don't put them on the entry list. I think they are just like how they do the Junior Dragster exhibition. They bring the sleds in for an exhibition, so you'll see them competing up there as well.
Yeah, them things be moving though. I will say that. I mean,
430s in an eighth of a mile is not slow on anything. I'll give you that.
Heck no, not at all. Not at all. Looking at this particular event in Brainerd, Elite looks like they've kind of found themselves a little bit. You see Greg Stanfield leading the charge with that. And are they back? Are they really back, or do we have to wait till we see some heat to really know if they found their groove?
That's a beautiful question, and it's really hard to say because they've really closed the gap ET-wise, but obviously the semifinals, in my Drag Race Bracket Bonanza opinion and picks, went the exact opposite of how I thought that was going to go. I completely saw the Elite KB semifinals, but I did not see the Stanfields in a father and son final. I'm sorry. Yeah. I picked, like we always talk about, pick them till they let you down. I had a Dallas and Greg Anderson final, and both of them went out there and just violently shook the tires and got out of control in that left-hand lane, and it went the other way. So it just goes to show you how on edge they are. The elite team is definitely running the numbers. They're not back half cars in qualifying anymore. They're getting themselves closer and closer to the top, and maybe they're starting to build their steam and momentum at the right time. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how it plays out here in Brainerd and how Indy plays out and how the field gets set up going into the countdown.
Yeah, those things are going to be important. And I really hope that it is that they are finding their footing. It seems like everybody else but Erica's car is responding at the moment. But hey, I still think the tire shake helped those guys. I think if there's no tire shake, it's still a KB final. I don't think I'm wrong by saying that.
I don't think you are either, but you know what? Those guys, they've never been really too far off, but they are definitely close enough that they can make up a lot of it on the starting line. And you better be on your game when you're up against some of those elite cars, because they definitely have some of the best levers in the class. Yes, we got 00 Dallas on the KB side of things, but you never count out Aaron Stanfield. Greg Stanfield picking up right where he left off in pro stock. I mean, he's killer on the tree. Jeg Coughlin is always on the verge of either a 00 or a teen light. But as we saw at the Night of Fire, it can go just as quickly the other way. I believe he was 005 red in the final and lost.
Yes,
that
he was.
So
he was.
You're right on the razor's edge, and just the car creeping a quarter inch, half inch further in the stage beams than you thought it would, and that perfect light turned into an instant loss.
Yes, indeed. It definitely can flip on you quick. We do have Greg Stanfield in the green room, so we will go ahead and go to a commercial break. And man, if you're needing pumps for the air or for the ground, Weldon High Performance is the pump that you want to go with. One of the best brands in the business, and it's going to ensure that you will be pumped up, air or ground. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty cool. One of my coolest moments to have one of my favorites, all-time favorites, coming up, Greg Stanfield, to be able to talk to you today. How's it going, Greg?
Going great, guys. Thanks for having me.
I have to ask you, man, what brought you back to Pro Stop?
I would say it was a lot to do with Aaron trying to get me back in one of them cars, for sure.
Do you think maybe he's reconsidering that after you end up beating him in the finals now? Come on back, Dad. Come on back. Come on, race with us. The water's fine over here. And then you put him out.
I think I got a little lucky there in the finals against him, but I'm sure he's probably asking himself, what was I thinking right now?
What has been contributed to the uptick in performance? You kind of been leading the pack with the uptick in performance and consistency. What has been the factor that has contributed to that?
I think the main thing is everybody on Elite Motorsports been working overtime trying to get these cars faster. Obviously, you can see I've got Aaron's little girl Oakley here with me. That's my number one fan until I beat her daddy. So yeah, everybody's been working really hard trying to get the cars faster. They've been working hard in the shop, on the engine program, just everywhere they could, try to get the speed back in these cars. And I think at this point, my car has probably been the happiest car, out of the bunch. I don't know if you contribute to anything. It's just been the happiest one, and hopefully we can get the rest of the cars, up to speed.
It definitely seems like your car has had a lot less aborted runs than the other, so maybe a little bit something in the chassis setup as well. And qualifying towards the top half of the field and being around in late rounds, moving your way up into point standings too as we're getting closer to this countdown.
Well, that's definitely huge. I mean, I'm having a good time driving the car, and it's been a pleasure working with everybody elite. Those guys work extremely hard, and it's unbelievable the kind of effort they're putting in, knowing, you know, how fast the KB guys have been. So I'm on board with them guys and trying to do the best I can and not screw up. So
it's been about 14 years or so since you won that pro stock race. What did it feel like, man, when you crossed the finish line? You knew you had won and you got that Wally in your hand.
Hey, I was in shock. I can tell you, it was such a, that whole race was such a whirlwind to me and Aaron. You know, the KB guys on race day had a little advantage on us, and for us to, you know, get lucky, out pedal them or whatever you want to call it, and turn the one lights on and have an opportunity to race each other, that was a dream for both of us. And for both of us to be able to do that, incredible day for us. I mean, it happened so fast, we didn't even know what happened, but it was emotional for both of us for sure. And it was cool to see it, cool to be part of it. And, you know, I hate it for Aaron, but I sure did enjoy that little white light coming on at the end of the track.
I think it's really awesome that the two of you, the first time you end up lining up in eliminations together in pro stock, ends up being in a final round, which by my unofficial count is the last father-son final since Warren and Kurt at Denver at the Mile High Nationals way back in 2001. Was there any side bets, anything going on there that you guys kind of maybe a little family rivalry behind the scenes? Just, you know, hey, you know, $5 on the best light or anything along those lines that you guys kind of talk about just to have fun with it and take the edge off and pressure off of racing in the final?
Yeah, there was lunch on the table for the best light. And I knew I was in trouble. Aaron was driving incredible all day, and I'm just a tick behind him on the start line, and I'm working overtime trying to catch him. And being an old dude, it's tough, man. These young guns, they are mean out there in today's time. So, yeah, he won the bet. Had to buy him lunch.
What does it take to get that consistency with the reaction times at I don't want to say at your age, but yeah, at your age? Like, what do you do to kind of get that thing honed in and try to get off the line? These, like you said, these young guns are really getting after it.
Yeah, for me, it's all about pedal pressure on the clutch pedal. And when I raced, you know, 14, 15 years ago, the pedal pressure wasn't nothing like it is now. The engines accelerate so much faster when you go on the limiter, so it tries to really kick your foot pretty hard. And that's been a struggle for me since I've come back. And that's what happened to me at Seattle. It's happened to me about 3 times this year. I've cheated the pedal, and it cost me a race. But for me, you know, holding the clutch pedal down, just enough pressure to react is what's fast for me. And other drivers they have their own way of driving, and I haven't quite got to that level of knowing how much pressure to hold to let it go. But I'm getting closer. And it's like Aaron told me, I'm trying to do things I can't do. So I need to get back to what I can do and then try to get the car to react for me. And I think we're getting better with it. As time goes on, we'll keep chipping away at it.
Is there any difference now in the competitiveness in the class from when you came back, coming back from when you used to race then? There's very, very few competitors that are still out there now running. You've got Greg and Jag that are still out there, Erica, obviously, but most of the guys that you used to race with, you know, Ricky Jones, Mike Edwards, Alan Johnson, Roger Brogdon, the Grays, a lot of those guys aren't out there anymore, and you're racing with a whole new crop of drivers. Is it just as tougher now, or not as tough as it was back then against those guys?
Oh, it's by far a lot tougher right now. I think the cars are, like I said, the way they're set up with the fuel injection are harder to drive in today's standards. In the competition level, it's like everybody. I mean, if you go up there and you're 30 on the tree, you're subpar. And when I race, 20 or 30 on the tree could get you a round or two. And, you know, and today it's like, and even, you know, Greg drives great. Jaggy's driving incredible. Just everybody's level of the game has gone so high. It's, like I said, I'm trying to work overtime on my part to try to get me at their level. And I've had a really fast car for the past few races, and it feels good. Definitely turn some one lights off for them guys.
So I'm curious, is Factory X pretty much a done deal?
I don't know if it's a done deal. I'm probably going to get back in the car towards the end of the year for Joe. Joe and David support those cars, and we'll just have to see where that class goes. I think it's going to take some changes to get some involvement. I voiced my opinion on some things I think they should do. I think they should allow automatic transmissions in, allow, a bigger tire on these cars. Just get it where not your a novice, I wouldn't say a novice driver, but a beginner type driver can get in those cars and get them down the racetrack. With that little 10.5 tire and the amount of torque and power those cars have got, they are really, really tricky to get down. And I think if they can do that to get the class, you'll see more people get involved with it. It's my opinion. So we'll see where it goes.
It would definitely be interesting to see. And since you and Aaron raced in the finals, and we brought it up Factory X, the first time that you guys went to head in the finals was at Joliet a few years ago. I happened to be there for that one in person. That was a great final round, won by you on a hole shot. That was an epic final. And most people, the class kind of didn't get the publicity I feel like it deserved as well. And sometimes people see your name in there and don't really know, maybe newer fans of the sport. You're a 6-time NHRA world champion between Superstock and the Factory X category. And just wanted to throw that out there for anybody that might be watching us talk with Greg. He's definitely got some accolades and some history behind him in the NHRA.
I love sportsman racing, you guys. That's what I grew up doing. And I always watched the pro guys, the Lee Shepherds and the Bob Glidens. Those are my heroes back when I was racing. But we never really had the funding to race on a professional level, but it was always a goal of mine when I was young, was to get to that level. And luckily I had a lot of great people behind me to help him in that success, and still have great people behind us today with the Janik brothers, Joe and David. And it's great to have the Rod Shop on board this year, carrying their banner. And that's a long history with me. And that is just cool. And like I said, we got Pat Quinn, Craig Gilterra, all the sponsors that Elite have, Johnson's Horsepower Garage, Jason and Nikki, the Melling Brothers, C-Tech, Jim and Deb Greenheck. The list is so long. Mark Stock said the list is long that support this team and the effort. It was really cool for me to be able to win for those guys. I didn't realize the amount of people that support this deal, and that was a really cool thing for the whole team, just to give them a little boost for the chase coming up. So, and they're working hard. And hopefully we'll have something for them KB guys there in Chase. But by heart, I am a sportsman racer, and I keep up with that stuff still today. After every race, I'm looking to see the results and stuff like that. And who knows, I might hop back in a super stock car for years up.
With the two groups really putting their heads together to keep a healthy pro stock class, does them being involved the way that they are and their passion for pro stock really help others to have that opportunity to have that set as, hey, I can get into a car and be able to compete, versus back in the day?
Well, back in the day, if you were a 2-car team, you were a big team back in the day. So today's time with KB and Elite, they provide race cars for people like myself that I can hop in and be competitive and race. And I think it's Richard's done a great job keeping this class going. If it weren't for Richard, I don't know where the class would be in today's time. But the passion that Richard has, the passion that Greg Anderson still has with KB, it's cool to see that. It takes so much effort that the competition level is so high and the perfection has to be so good. It's hard to win today, but it's fun to, if you're competitive, it's the class you need to get into as far as a driver. It's truly a driver sport for sure. And it's been fun to come back, and I'm enjoying it a little different, having Cynthia beside me and not having the pressure worrying about, getting the race rig to the racetrack and stuff like that. And, got a great group of guys that work hard, and it's just fun to watch and be around. It's contagious.
Well, and it just shows that, like you say, no matter what it is, you can get in and drive it, whether it was the super stock car, the Factory X car, or the pro stock car, even after all these years, and still making a difference. And it's surprising for most of the fans of the category that it took Elite this long into the season to win an event. And I don't think, no offense to you or the rest of the team, but we kind of thought Erica or Aaron might would have been one of the first ones to pick up a trophy in there. So that's another congratulations to you for being the best of the entire team, because like you just mentioned, that is a huge organization, a lot of supporters, and a lot of great drivers and tuners there. For you to be the first one to come on top, that's pretty awesome too.
Oh, for sure, guys. I feel like I was probably the weak link in coming in this year as far as driving, and everybody kind of laughs when I say that, but that's just, I get to look behind the scenes and seeing how everybody's driving and what they're doing, and I'm still not there. It's going to take me a little more to get where I like to cut double low lights, which is hard to do, but that's my standard, to be able to reach down deep and pull some of them out. And, I can't do it today, but hopefully we're going to work on it till we can do it. And with Jeggy and Erica, I mean, the staff that they have, it's incredible. Just glad to be a part of it.
Well, Greg, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Competition Plus Power Hour, and good luck this weekend at Brainerd. Should be some really good conditions for you guys, and I expect you guys to continue to put up some numbers if those conditions continue to be to where we can put up some really good numbers for the fans.
We're going to keep digging, boys. Let me tell you, those guys are working hard, and thanks for you guys having me.
Greg Stanfield, everybody. Thank you. And just like that, we have 1 down, 2 to go, and man, we got a good one coming up here next. Josh Hart, driver of the RL Carriers Top Fuel Dragster. He was just at Night Under Fire. And right after this commercial break from Redline Oil, just like Greg Stanfield and just like all those sportsman racers, they're always hitting the red line. You want to have the best oil in the business. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Redline Oil. They not only run it in their race cars, but you also can run it in your daily driver. Beautiful stuff. And so go out and get yourself some Redline Oil. And right after this, we'll have Josh Hart.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline Oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline Oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Josh Hart, ladies and gentlemen. And Josh, how you doing, man? You guys just come back from Night Under Fire. How are things going?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course.
And not only coming off the Night Under Fire, but how about that epic first round in Sonoma, putting points leader Tony Stewart on the trailer first round? A lot of momentum building up there, and seems like things are starting to turn your guys' way after a rough start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I have you ever seen the movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so when I was leaving Seattle, I had a nice little moment in the bathroom where I wanted to whip my own, behind. So everybody said, what are you doing? I said, I'm whipping my ass. I just blinked at the wrong time, guys, and I think I could have put him on the trailer then, but shame on me. So I wasn't going to let it happen again, no matter what.
Yeah, and I don't think I pay attention. I pay attention, Josh, but a lot of hard work has gone into getting this team back on track. You got really good brain trust in the building and helping you guys out, and yourself putting in the hard work to get back to where you want to be. And it seems like this team is trending in the right direction right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, we're on our own little island, and that's okay when you're performing and you're kicking everybody's butt. But when you're lost, you're lost, and it's tough. There's a army of people behind this operation that no one gets to meet and greet, and everybody assumes that because we have R&L carriers on our trucks and trailers that we're just falling through the heavens with money, and that's not the case. The deal was never like that. So getting sponsors and support and just the confidence from everybody behind us has been tough.
I got to say, you definitely got the momentum on your side, and it is not out of the realm of possibility to jump up a couple of spots before this countdown starts, especially with 1.5 points in Indy, and put yourself a little bit closer to the top. And like we talked about earlier, every point matters once we do that point reset. Looks like things trending in the right direction? Do you even bother looking at the point stuff right now in your preparations for Indy or rounding out the regular season? Or are you kind of just focused on countdown forward and seeing what you can do there once everybody's back on even keel?
I'll level with you. I'm not looking at it at all. I'm focusing on each round one by one and running our own race. And I'm not bluffing. I just can't do it. You know, we got so wrapped up into that in 23 and 24 that I think it was part of my own demise. So I go up there, focus on my job. You know, I've said it in multiple interviews, there's very little mechanical mistakes, and the learning curve for the team is starting, like you said, to trend in the right direction. So, you know, you just go up there, go round by round, and I think the results should follow.
I think what's important too, and Nicole is saying that as well. It looks like you guys are starting to have fun again. You know, especially these last couple of races, you guys really look like you're having fun, and Ron Douglas looks like he's having a lot of fun too.
I'll comment a little bit on that. I did not have a whole lot of fun in Seattle. I went into it with the wrong mindset, and you know, like I said in one of my social posts, there's not a whole lot of coddling going on in the Hart household. You know, so my wife was very blunt with me on the phone, and she's like, "Look, if you can't cut a light, and this thing's not going to perform, you need to park it. You know, you're more valuable here at the business and at home." And so when I left there, I had a nice long flight all the way across the country to think about her words, which sucked. But you know, she was right. So when we went into Sonoma, I gotta say I'm super grateful for all those fans, because that place was packed, and it changes the way that you approach things when you feel that energy, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
But I will say this: there is no energy like what I felt when we showed up to the Night Under Fire. Um, I needed that more than I'm willing to admit. Just the whole production and the script, you know, the pep talk and the whole performance was off the charts awesome. Um, and you know me, I don't say a whole lot, but that was the best drag racing night of my career. I was honored to be invited. I would have gladly done it for free. You know, um, everybody was positive. You know, you didn't have these stupid announcers that every time they've got a mic in their mouth, they're saying something negative, just trying to stir the pot and create drama. It was all positive and informative, and the fans loved it. And I just can't say enough about it. I mean, I would be honored to do that race for the rest of my life. Um, you know, I think we started at like 8 a.m. and we ended at like 3 a.m. And
Wow.
and yeah, you're tired, but there was so much energy, positive energy at that place. You were pumped. I mean, I was signing autographs at 2:30 a.m. to 5-year-olds that were circling around the car. It was just a great experience.
Well, and it never hurts that that's right next to the big R&L Carriers hub, and you happen to have that on your car and all the pomp and circumstance around it. And yeah, I kind of get your reference there. As a fan of the sport, also, I'd just like to say I thought that the deep on the car was hilarious. I thought that was really good, and I'm glad that you did that, and you could have at least a little bit of fun with it, knowing what happened, and like you mentioned on the commentary. But yeah, that Night Under Fire deal has always got to be a special place to you, not only just because it's everything around it, but being at Norwalk and being right there next to all the sponsors. And I'm sure you had plenty of R&R Carrier folks that were out there cheering you on as well.
Yeah, I mean, I actually meant more than just the deep comment, and I'm open to talking about that too. You know, deep to me was always like, you know, you turn the top bulb off, and I watched John Force and Cruz Pedregon do that crap all the time. It was amazing. You know, it was fun,
Yep.
and the most genius round that I've ever seen in my life was when John Force flickered the bottom bulb, and then Cruz red lit. Force just cruised down the track, literally threw his parachutes the whole 9 yards. I bet he was doing the parade wave inside that car. And that's amazing, you know. But, you know, when a guy says, hey, he's deep or he's in a couple points, I just feel like that was taken out of context. You know, I'm definitely not trying to take anybody's head off on the starting line. And when I do, I'm proud to say that I did it. But that was one. And then, when you got people saying this team couldn't find water if they fell out of a boat, and you got to explain that to your 5-year-old daughter or your multi-billion-dollar sponsors, basically they refuse to watch the show anymore. So, you're talking to these people and they just have no interest in doing it anymore. It's disgusting. So I bet the people that are talking all that smack probably aren't worth what it cost me to operate that team annually. And I mean that. Going out there and raising the kind of money that it takes to make this thing go to every single event, they don't have that. But I'm out here doing it, and I think they need to show a little bit more respect.
No, I agree with you on that. I think we've had this conversation before, Josh, about these type of things. I'm not a fan of it. I think we can keep things in the context of, just like we break down football and we talk football, we're going to talk ball. It needs to stay in that realm of talking about racing. And I don't really care about deep staging. As a matter of fact, if I'm racing you, if I'm racing Tony Stewart, I'm turning both bulbs on immediately. Okay. And I'm going to let you think about it, because at the end of the day, I'm not that good. I've got to get every advantage that I can. So I'm going to immediately put both bulbs on, and I don't care if somebody does that or not. It's all strategy. Aren't we trying to win here?
That's what I thought, and it's funny when you sit there, and I actually so much applaud Tony Stewart's interview where he said, you're going to get all these people online that are sitting in their mom's basement, talking all this smack. It's so true. If you read that stuff, you just start going down this rabbit hole that's not good. It's all negative. The problem is the announcers love it, so they're trying to create it, and it's just a bad deal. Whereas you could go to a Night Under Fire event, and it is so much positive energy where you're like, wow, I'm the performer. I didn't have to pay to be here. I would gladly make 7 runs at 1 a.m. or whatever, because the energy and the fans are just off the charts epic.
Yeah, for sure. And to follow up those flaming hot comments, I wanted to ask you, you've now dipped your feet into the factory stock showdown, and you've got the Bernie Speech app Dodge out there, and you're running in that category at selected events. What's that experience been like, and is that in any way aiding you in driving, and any tips and tricks or just extra runs down the track or shots at the tree that you can apply to the Top Fuel car?
It's the same thing, and I don't want to just beat it to death like Negative Nancy, but I forgot how bad the poor sportsman racers get treated. I got a 1-shot qualifier in Gainesville, and you're talking about FlexJet, who sponsors this class, and it's like pin the tail on the donkey. We're gonna run it this time. We're gonna run it this time. We're gonna run it this time. Oh, forget it. You're gonna run tomorrow. And I'm like, God bless it, man. We're paying money to do this, and it's not cheap. It's like, it's the worst experience you could ever ask for. So, kudos to those guys at IHRA. They're trying really, really, to take care of people. And it's the little things. I heard they're like bringing people ice, and congratulations to Lex June. He won $50,000. That's the same payout that we get for winning a national event. So now he can put that money into the program and build his program. It's such like business 101, and nobody cares on our side. Nobody cares. It's like, we're going to run this thing until it breaks. And I'm telling you, it's breaking.
As a quick follow-up, does that mean that we would ever see you in an IHRA national event upcoming before the end of the season?
Definitely not by the end of the season. I've even thought about, to be honest, with the Factory Showdown car, we did that for my wife. It was supposed to be shake it down a couple of races, and then she was going to take the helm. But we're building our business stronger and stronger back here in Florida. So she's been focusing on that. And I would say, maybe next year, but I'm so proud of all the other teams, Palmer and Krista Baldwin. Like, it's awesome. I'm so glad to see everybody doing good. And it's super sad that, we're only getting 10 cars at the last 3 events. I think there might be 11 or 12 now going into Brainerd, but I think that should send a message by itself.
Yeah, for sure. And we got one extra. We got 13. Got one extra on there. Maybe we'll get 2 extra, but yeah, I feel you. Definitely wish that there could be more on a consistent basis out there. Tell us a little bit about how things are going business-wise. I know I keep saying, Josh, I'm coming down there. Josh, I'm coming down there. I'm going to do it. I owe you that.
Well, I promise it won't be disappointing. It may not be the night under fire, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and we're focusing on expanding into other regions, which is great. And I have no complaints. Business is good. We've flirted with some NHRA marketing, and the Bristol territory was nice. I think we're doing something with Dallas, and Norwalk was good. Charlotte's always good, so might see a few new Bernie's speed shops popping up soon.
That's awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that's great that the business is doing well enough that you can expand and get into those other markets. And always loved the logo. The Flame logo was awesome. Loved when it was on the top fuel car, and glad to hear things are going well. And I am shocked that factory stock car was going to end up being for your wife. That's some news I didn't know. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Hopefully she gets in it.
Yeah, so the truth be told, we ordered that car, and it was coming in at the same time as my daughter. So the car got shelved, and obviously the kids took priority.
Yeah, 100%. Always fun. Kids are always fun. Well, Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. And as always, man, I always love your honesty and your realism. And you know how I feel about you, brother. And I look forward to seeing you guys continue to trend upward as we get closer to the playoff time, man. Be safe out there and go get them.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I wish my words would carry more weight. That's why I don't talk too much. And if there's something I could do to try to improve the process, I assure you I would. So take care.
You too, brother. Thank
you very much.
Josh Hart, man. I love that guy. And one of my first ever interviews, and he's just a down to earth guy. And when he speaks, though, he don't speak much, but when he speaks, it carries weight. And we've been saying what he's saying for a while now. I'm just glad that it comes from a driver now.
And it's nice to see him let his personality shine for sure. Yeah. Like you say, that he's putting it out there and saying what needs to be said, and he's not afraid to back down. And especially when the biggest thing for me is when you make a comment that your sponsor or your kids are watching the show or your wife is watching the show and they're talking bad about you, and you got to explain that to them. I mean, we don't have a place for that, unfortunately, in the sport. I mean, you gotta be everybody's cheerleader at some point and build them up even when they're struggling.
Look, there's ways to go about talking about somebody that's struggling. But if they've been struggling for a long time, we already know that. You know what I mean? It's like you see a quarterback and the guy's done throw 5-6 interceptions over the last 5 or 6 games. He's struggling. Completion percentage is under 50%. I don't think it needs to be said. The statistics show it. I don't need to run that into the ground. You know what I mean? But I think with that, I think you have to look at also some of the things that teams are doing. Look at Alexis DeJoria. Sure, you could talk about them struggling, but they just kept chopping wood, and look at what it turned into. Look at where they're going. There's just ways to go about it. I've always been like I'm a players guy and I'm a racers guy, and I'm going to stand up for those guys all the time. I'm not about the organization. I'm not about the establishment. I am for the racer. I am for the player. And there's just ways to do business. There's ways to talk about that and call that. And I think we all could be better at that. But y'all know how I feel about that. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about it because we've got a guy that I like. If I'm going to cheer I cheered when this guy won that IHRA race. Will Smith is in the building, guys, and we will welcome him to the show. And now, Will, man, we are excited to talk to you, and we are excited that you were able to get that Ironman at the end of the day. I couldn't even wipe the smile off my face. I was smiling so hard, my head was hurting.
You and me both. I'm still smiling. That's why my face is so red. Man, what a day. Gosh, that was, a lifelong dream accomplished, and wasn't sure that it would come. It's lack of funding has kept me on the sidelines for a while, and and kept me from being out there full time. So, that's certainly a struggle, but something I'm working on daily. Trying to get out there, and the opportunity worked out with the Samsels to get behind the wheel at that particular event, and like I said, mission accomplished. We were there to go win the thing, and fortunately, it worked out that way. So they gave me a fast hot rod, as they always do, and I try not to look stupid. So,
well, look, okay, yeah, the car was there. The car was running some numbers. You were low 20s. Yeah, you're right there with the Meyer cars and everybody else. But those reaction times, man, even though the car was there, you made up for a lot of it, and you in sportsman terms, locked a lot of people out just by the time you pass the Christmas tree, as long as you both get down the track under power. So don't take anything away from your driving ability, because that was definitely a starting line clinic there, and most deserved win too, I might add.
I appreciate that. That was a lot of the reason why I got the opportunity to drive a hot rod, and we were down in Gainesville earlier in the year with the Baby Gators, and I got to drive Noonan's car, Jamie and Renee's personal car, as a team car to the Samsel car, which Jamie drove that car. And it's funny because Robin told me going into race day, he said, "Hey, just get us," I thanked him, for the opportunity to be able to race with those guys again, and he says, "Just get us some of those 20 lights you always do." So unfortunately, we lost in the semis to Jamie, but I was, I think, 29 and 28 on the tree there. And so same thing going into Milan. It's, do your job on the starting line and drive the car as you're supposed to. And fortunately it worked out, but yeah, coming off the trailer, being 12 on the tree, Cole asked me before first round, he said, "You think you got all of it?" And I said, truthfully, no. I said, I was as shallow as I could be. And so I kind of backed it up a little bit first round. That's where that 54 come through. But 22 and 15 after that, I was like, well, hey, I can still do this. So, like I said, you never know when your next opportunity to get behind the wheel is, or at least, I don't. I mean, fortunately, I'm getting to race with the Novellis this year, and we have a few races left that we're doing. But, as far as if it wasn't for that, like I said, never, not real sure when the next opportunity comes up, So I just knew I had to be on my game, and, I wanted to win that thing. The team needed it. I needed it. And fortunately, it worked out, and everybody's happy. And matter of fact, to fly out in the morning going to Brainerd, I will actually be crewing on the car this weekend for the Samsels, and Jamie Noonan will be driving again. So looking forward to working with them again, and hopefully the momentum we had in Milan, carries on.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. And you're back in the Novelli car. You're coming off with that momentum for the win. This is a field that's only got 13 top field dragsters, so you'll be in the show. But, man, you got to feel great coming into this race, coming off a win, very confident, getting into this car. All they have to do is give you something to go out there and get these boys with, and I think you could do the job.
Well, we're definitely going to try to be the giant killer, that's for sure. We've come up short the last couple of NHRA races we've been to, and just little things. I mean, the car's coming around, and we need a few more laps, with the car of getting it to where it needs to be, and we're learning with every lap. And a couple of things that have plagued us, we've identified the problem, addressed the solution, and it's the next run. It shows what we, the changes we made, that it helped. So I'm looking forward to, seeing what we do next week in Brainerd, in the next run with that car, because we were having a blower belt issue. I think we kind of got that resolved. And the first round in Columbus, gosh, it was a pedal fest, and going into that weekend, I had never, had to pedal a top fuel car. And it's definitely different than an A fuel car, no question. But unfortunately, if the belt had just hung on for another 10th of a second or so, I think we had enough momentum to get by Lex, but unfortunately we didn't. And we figured out what the problem was, and hopefully next week will yield better results for us.
We did notice in the final round at Milan, that quick pedal job that you had, that A fuel car too. That was a nice save there. Just wanted to mention, you've got a couple weeks ago, you were in a top fuel car at Columbus. Last weekend, you were at Milan in an A fuel car, or the weekend before last weekend. And thank you again for the hospitality that you extended. You wore your PDRA cap, and you were at Martin, Michigan at US 131 for the PDRA race. Man, did they pack that place, did they not? The fans sure turned out for that, and what a show it was. They got to see, on top of the PDRA, the extra nitro cars that were putting on a show. That was a really great deal, too.
We couldn't have asked for a better event. I mean, that place was packed out, and our PDRA series, having the premier 8th mile drag racing series, all the action packed pro mod action that we brought was great. All the nitro cars that Jason Peterson and his team at 131 assembles every year. It was just the perfect show. I mean, it was outstanding. I was standing on the starting line and got to see a lot of my great friends out there, and Dixon and Harada was there, Dave Harada was there, and Kevin Kinsley, and a lot of cool nitro burning friends and heroes of mine. And it was just it's really cool to have that added to our PDRA show, and vice versa. So also one of my great friends and childhood heroes, Tim Gross, he come out and checked out the event this weekend, and he wanted to see what the PDRA was all about, and he wanted to check out the nitro burning action too. And he had a blast and couldn't believe how packed out the place was. And it was just it was a show for the ages, for sure.
With you having your promoter hat on, and now you see the IHRA coming to life, and hopefully sustainable. You have PDRA, you have NHRA, you have all these series. How important is it for all of these series to thrive for the racer, in a time where, there are a lot of people that do want to race, not necessarily all can race on certain levels due to finances, but it gives these guys an opportunity to get more laps, get more, data, and learn to be better, and also build their program.
I mean, it's great. There's, competition is good for everybody, and we all offer something different, and I think with all the numerous series, one-off special events and such, I mean, there's so much drag racing action out there. Also, the series across the country, of all different types of racing, pro mod and nitro racing, and and such. Logistically, they're all in different parts of the country, so there's a lot of people that can't, that are East Coast that may not be able to make it out to the West Coast or Midwest and such. So, everybody's kind of got their own areas of, where they offer the races, where they can test at. And, I mean, it's, we're just going to keep doing our thing as we always have, and keep getting better and growing, and offering a great place to race. And like I said, there's so many people out there that that want to go racing, and there's all these different types of cars and such, and everybody's got their own taste of what they like, and everybody, there's a lot of different avenues that offer what it is people want, exactly.
In the same vein, and I don't know if you would be privy to this or not going forward, but at least in the pro mod community, the state of Michigan has been the place to be for the last couple of weeks between going to Milan with IHRA, PDRA there. You got 8th mile competition there for a points championship that these guys are right in the thick of. Then you come right back. A lot of them are coming right back to Milan for $125,000 to win IHRA race. And it was interesting. I was talking to Jason Harris and his team at Martin, and they were like, a lot of guys may not show up to that just because we've been doing this for so many weeks in a row. They got a lot of hurt parts. They got a lot of stuff that, they can't make it back and forth. Going forward, because some of the sanctioning bodies, mostly between PDRA and IHRA, would they look at maybe not having the events and scheduling, working together a little bit with their scheduling so they're not so close or on top of each other? Or do you think that that's something that each series just puts on their own thing and let the cards fall where they may?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, everybody's, like PDRA, we have, dates and venues that we, go to each year at those same times. But I think it's also important everybody tries to, work together and schedule things out. A lot of that, like you mentioned, the guys that aren't going to be able to make the event in Michigan this weekend, there's a lot of people running for a championship over there at PDRA. And, there were some that had a lot of hurt equipment at the end of the event in Martin this weekend. So I'm definitely not surprised to hear that. But it's important as far as the schedule goes to, getting it all worked out for everyone to. It makes the most sense for each organization, and that's a little above my pay scale personally. So that's a Tyler Crossnow thing, but he does a good job with putting all that together. But yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of places to race, and they're doing a good job over there, and a lot of money there, and so yeah, we'll see what happens.
So before we let you get out of here, you are a guy who collects vintage NHRA stuff, I heard.
Oh yeah, dude, my house is like a museum. I've had people come over and they're like, wow, this they're like, well, definitely tell you're a bachelor and you're not married and you like drag racing. But yeah, dude, I'm a huge collector and I've got a lot of cool things. And like I say it all the time. I just love drag racing. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. And I couldn't imagine life without it or having to do anything else in life.
What's the coolest piece that you have? I'll say, what is the most unique piece that you have that somebody doesn't necessarily see a lot of?
Gosh, that's I'd have to really think about that. I got some really cool stuff so Eddie Hill was always my favorite top fuel driver as a kid growing up, and I do actually know Eddie personally now and talk to him quite often. And when I was born, I had holes in my eardrums, and one side healed up, the other didn't. So eventually I had to have my eardrum replaced. And at that time, I had one of the old metal transporters when they used to make them metal and they're not plastic. And it was Eddie Hill's, and it was from his championship in '93. And it was signed by Eddie, Ursi, and Fuzzy, and Fuzzy's wife at that time. And that was like my security blanket. And I wouldn't take nothing for that truck. It's in a display case. And but anyway, when I had that surgery, that went with me. And the doctor told his nurse how important that truck was to me and said, hey, your job during this whole operation, just watch this truck, make sure nothing happens to it, and make sure it gets back to his room with him. And that's exactly what happened. And that's a special piece that I have. Like I said, he was always my hero growing up. And I've got some cool pieces and stuff from my great friend Bill Mullins. And, just I got stuff hanging up on the wall, and one of his old aprons from when he ran. I know it's kind of odd, but it's back when he was teamed with Ray Rhea back in the late 80s. Rhea and Mullins was on this car, and there's this apron, and it was actually in some stuff when I had bought some stuff from him, after actually when I got his Mustang, and it was in there. And anyway, it's in a frame on my wall, and it's a unique piece, but it's so cool because it's straight from 1987, and I promise you there's not another one out there like it. So
that's cool.
That's really cool.
Stuff.
I didn't know that about you. And in the comments there, yeah, you should post the memorabilia tour. I'd love to see the extent of it. It makes me think of when Casey Spurlock won the '94 Winter Nationals. He gets out, Steve Evans interviews him, and he's saying, it's the same car I won with 1990. He's like, we ever get rid of it again? He's like, no, one day this car's going to be in the living room of my house. And when you say you got a big collection, you're a bachelor, I just picture a funny car in your living room when you come in.
It's funny, on Facebook earlier today, Casey had posted some items, some stuff that he was selling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that, or I got to have that. I couldn't afford it, but I'll tell you another thing. After winning Milan the other week, I told Tony, I said, if y'all ever sell this car, I want to buy it. We run 2 races, I've won in it, and I don't know that I could fit it in my house, and it certainly couldn't hang from the rafters, but I would find something to do with it. But I'm told him, I'm like, if you ever get ready to sell this chassis, I'm buying it no matter what. So it's been a good car to me. But I've been collecting. I'm 35, so I've been collecting over 30 years, different cool stuff. And I've had some friends give me some really cool items. Daryl Gwynn has sent me and gave me some cool pieces and pictures and hat pins and all kind of stuff. I collect those too. So it's just something I like to do, and it's kind of a hobby. And it may not mean nothing to anybody else, but it certainly does to me.
I think the best collection's over your left shoulder, all those trophies.
Yeah, it's backward. Yeah. Well, I would have loved to have my Iron Man sitting there, but I actually gave that to Robin and Tony and them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does the IHRA allow you to get multiples the way that NHRA does, or do you guys just get one and that's it?
No, they do. They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I wanted them to have it. They win wouldn't happen without them, and I'm like, hey, I'll get one later, but I want you guys to have it. I'm appreciative of the opportunity, and that car wouldn't win any races if it wasn't for them. So,
yeah, awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, Will, thanks, man, for taking the time to come on the show, and I look forward to seeing you in Brainerd. And good luck being on the crew and turning some wrenches too.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to getting back to doing that this weekend. I love working on the cars almost as much as driving. So I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's a pleasure to speak with you both. I love your show, love what you guys are doing. And I got to give out a shout out to my buddy Josh Hart. I got to say I agree with a lot of things he said earlier. He did a great job, and he's a great friend of mine. And I love to see him do well, and just a great guy. So,
yeah.
I hope you don't end up first round against each other now that you said all that.
Yes.
Hey, I don't care who we run. I just want to make first round. So it really doesn't matter to me. So I ain't scared of nobody. That's what I tell them.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks so much, man. Talk to you soon,
guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you,
man. What a great show tonight, man. Great conversation. I love the fact that we had Josh Hart open up and show his personality and, speak some truth, which, we've been kind of saying that, but I'm just glad to hear it from a driver, to come out and say that. Yeah. And, they can take it however they want to improve is all I'm saying. So
honestly, I was shocked that I was genuinely curious how the factory stock showdown car was helping him out and getting the extra runs. But I mean, he was brutally honest with, well, it's kind of hard because we run the top fuel car at 4:00, and then they run the sportsman cars at 9 o'clock. So the crew's already done service in the car and went home before I even get to make my qualifying run, and it's just commentary on how the sportsman racer is treated, even though that is considered somewhat of a semi-professional level category in the NHRA.
Right. Like I said the other day, real easy to be on time when you bumping people. That's all I'm saying. Real easy to talk about you being on time when you kick people to the curb and say, yeah, we'll see you in the morning. We'll run you at midnight. You gotta get these nitro cars in.
Right.
All right. So don't nobody want to hear that nonsense. Well, man, we had a great jam-packed show. I'm glad we were able to provide that for you. I want to thank Elon and Bobby for putting this thing together. I want to also personally thank my teammates at Sega. We had a great race there at Brainerd Motorsports Park in Ringgold, Georgia. You can go check out all that action on the Southeast Gases Association YouTube page if you did not watch that live. Some great side-by-side racing happened this weekend. And shout out to my man, Barry Adler, with the Iron Eagle. And dude went and put an Eagle thing on his helmet and was driving down the track with it. It is the coolest thing, showing some personality and having a little fun, man. And a lot of those guys do that there. And it was a great time. Just love working with those guys and being able to be a part of that.
I loved that you were a part of it, that you were down there running one of the cameras. I was jealous when I saw that you were at the track too, running that. I'm like, man, there's just drag racing everywhere this weekend. And those guys put on a great show. And towards the end of the year, I'm hopeful to try and make it down to one of their races down in Gulfport. So I can't wait to see those guys in person, because you guys do some great coverage. And thanks to Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer, for putting that stream together and getting the live streams being brought back to the Southeast Gassers Association. That is no small task to do. And the work that everybody put in to make it happen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, your boy had to make an 8th mile run. And I'm talking about run to the camera Friday night. We're setting up. We were going to do qualify or test to tune. Just to kind of get things going. And we're both standing in the tower, and I look down the track, and you can see the mountain in the distance, and the mountain started to disappear. And he looks at me, and I'm thinking I've already thought it, and he's like, I think you might want to go get that camera. And then you hear, once he says that, you hear thunder and lightning. I made a sprint at 44 years old, people. I made an 8th mile run to that camera and got that camera before it rained. I about 130 feet into it, though. My brain was like, you old, what the hell are you doing?
You the real MVP. And he thanks you for letting that camera not get destroyed.
Yeah, because he was just like, yep, if it got rained on. I was like, that's Sega's camera now. I don't know. That's theirs.
Just a quick follow-up to Drag Race Mayhem in the comments. Yes, it was not that IHRA wasn't on time because they were bumping categories. Nobody lost their place in line. They had a rain delay, and they were allowing the teams time to do it. So there's a difference from not being on time specifically to saying, all right, we're going to bump everybody out of the way and make the sportsman guys wait 3 hours till the 2 top fuel cars and the 2 funny cars to do it. So not necessarily biased there. Yes, IHRA definitely had some issues with that. The fans in the stands were waiting a long time. The fans watching on TV were waiting a long time. It shouldn't have happened. There was a lot of frustration, and it'll be worked on to not happen in the future. But unfortunately, it did. But it didn't really affect any of the other racers. Everybody got their shot down the track. And even though all the rainstorms that came through, nobody lost the session. Everybody made it down. Everybody got their runs, and everybody ran in order that they should have. So kudos to the IHRA for that, because they could have very easily said, you know what? The thunderstorms are coming in. We're bumping the lineup. We're opening the show with nitro, which is exactly what NHRA has done multiple times. And they didn't. They still opened the show with Pro Mod, Top Alcohol Dragster. They ran everybody in the run order that they printed, and they didn't deviate from that. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, for sure. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the peak of our show. And if you're not using peak coolant I don't know what you're doing with your life, but if you're using anything else, then let's go ahead and get on board. Let's start using Peak Coolant for your daily driver. It's one of the best in the business. And for everybody, I want to say, just like Lee Kraft would say, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Rooftech Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.